maybe let's take it to the other end of the spectrum,
Mm.
which some might call the more modern take on leadership. I think servant leadership is a term that's often used for that. It's kind of flipping the script.
Mhm.
It's instead of focusing on profit, it's focusing on your people and purpose. So more on kind of the things that you control, the input, and then betting on or trusting that if you get that right, that profit and business results will automatically flow from
Mm.
that, right? So it's servant leadership. The person that comes to my mind is Satya Nadella, who at
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Microsoft I think it's a while ago, like in 2014, he took over Microsoft, and at that time there was this real toxic competitive environment that was created. And what he did was he literally flipped that on its head, right? So he started focusing on employee well-being,
Mm.
employee engagement, collaboration, had a more of an empathetic
Mhm.
leadership style. Um, and I would say not without results,
Yeah.
right? So he turned the company from a 300 billion company to over 2 trillion.
Oh, wow.
And I cannot even count the zeros in that.
Well, and I mean, he's a great example, and as you're talking about this, I think of, like, my own journey as a leader, and when I was in a role supporting a team that didn't have a whole lot of, like, numeric results, like,
Mm,
what you're saying, I can really see I leaned in on that, right? And one leader that came to mind, and I'm a big fan of his, so I'll try and rein it in a little bit. You might be a big fan of his too. We might have his book around here
yeah.
somewhere, because he is also Dutch, but it's the former CEO of Unilever, Paul
Yeah.
Polman.
Yep.
And he became kind of notorious, and he has a manifesto about net positive. He has a book about being net positive. And really, the question across both of them that I take away that he challenges businesses say, is society, is the world better off because your company's in it? And I think
Yeah.
that's such
I
an
like that.
interesting thing to think about. And there's two things, both his book or manifesto, I can't remember where they came from, but he has one instance where he was facing declining profits,
Mhm.
financial instability at
Yeah.
Unilever, and was in a meeting with his board that clearly they were very profit first board, facing those challenges and asking a lot of questions. And he quite confidently said, I am not in this. Unilever is not in it for short term success. We're in it for long term sustainable growth and societal impact to the best that we can do it. And they took a bet on him, and it turned out.
Mhm.
Unilever's brand reputation skyrocketed. Their profits ended up skyrocketing when he started to focus on those purpose and people elements first. And I wonder if his board was unhappy about it once they saw the success.
Right. Yeah. And that is really interesting. And I think it begs the question of like what makes that leadership style
Mm.
so different. And again, I think it starts with putting people first, purpose first,
Mhm.
and profit. I wouldn't even say second. It's just a different approach. Like where you put your energy is more on the input,
Mhm.
and then kind of with doing the right things long term that will also lead to profit or like
Yeah.
financial or business success. So going back to that servant leadership, those are the leaders that really believe that they're here to serve a greater purpose, right?
Mhm.
And they're closer to kind of their own impact. It's about setting their team up for success, looking at what people
Mhm.
really love doing,
Yeah.
where their passion is, where their own purpose alignment lays, and growth and development, and really kind of setting them up. And maybe it's my turn to do some fangirling here, but I'm a big fan of Simon Sinek.
Shocker. I could have
His book is
predicted that
probably
one.
also somewhere around here. What he says is, and I think that that's from his Leaders Eat Last
Mm.
book. Great leaders sacrifice numbers to save people, and poor leaders sacrifice people to save numbers. And I
Mm.
think that really, really hits home. Um, Speaking of numbers, there's also the research that backs it up, right? Like when you look at
Mm.
employee engagement, 90% of the employees in purpose-driven companies are engaged. Over 32% at the more, call them traditional companies.
Wow. That's a big difference.
It's a stark difference, right? So, and I think great, like your employees are engaged. What does that buy you, right? Like I hear the critics already. But then there's Gallup, who over and over again kind of shows in their research that the higher employee engagement also leads to higher profitability. And I think the number is somewhere around like 23% more profitability for companies that have a high employee engagement. So it can be done.
Yeah. And, going back to the first one, that traditional authoritative definitely has its place. In this one, it sounds like it's a bit more favorable because it focuses, there's that profit benefit, that long-term financial success, but with the short-term people and purpose focus. So it just begs the question then, why isn't everybody doing it? I'm like, what are we missing?
Yeah, great question. Honestly, I think because it's hard. It's really hard. It asks people or requires leaders to focus on that long-term strategy in a world where short-term wins are rewarded, right?
Yeah,
so
that's hard.
It's really hard to really stand up for that, stand out doing that, right? And then in addition to that, I feel like purpose and purpose-driven companies has become a term that's kind of overly used and also misused, if you ask me, right? Like I always think about the companies that say that they're purpose-driven, but in reality, all they do is they transfer a large sum of money at the end of the year to a large charity. And don't get me wrong, that's also very much needed, but that doesn't make you a purpose-driven company.
They're not living and breathing it, 360, everything
it's kind of lacking that hard work. Hard work to really get it right and invest in that long term. And also, quite frankly, what I see a lot is that investing in a long-term strategy, investing in your people, investing in your purpose, investing in getting it right, that's just not a luxury that most leaders feel or think that they have.
Yeah.
Right? So they, with all the best intentions, they might kind of set course in that direction. But before you know it, if the results are not showing quickly enough, there will be the next one coming in saying that it's not the right strategy, and we'll start focusing on short-term results again.
And when things are changing so quickly, it's hard to really get that investment and buy-in for the long term. Like it takes a lot to stand your ground. To say, no, believe me, this will turn around.
It will turn around.
But that's pretty hard.